Hi guys out there, it is me, Bishop J from Camp Gilgal TV. Wonderful moment to be with you. If it is for you the first time you are here at the Camp Gilgal TV channel, Camp Gilgal TV channel on YouTube, you need to subscribe. I kindly request you to do so. And while you're still in the video, you like the video. And you like the video and you share the link of this video for everybody to your social media platform. And God will bless you. Ebenezer, we are in the month of August and we are going to our 2023, the end of it. God has been so kind to us and God has been so good to us, providing and protecting us. If I can look around or through the news, you will understand how other fellows are going through tough time. Our brothers and sisters in Sudan, they're in the war that is being put upon them, and that is a horrible, horrible war. Our brothers and sisters in Ukraine, also they are going to a tough time of the war. And our brothers and sisters in Congo, the east of Congo, also are going through tough time of the war. Some part of the West African, where there are some coup d'etat that government has been toppled, and you know when such things happen, anything is possible. But for us here in South Africa, God has been so kind to us and is protecting us and is giving us all the grace that we can do besides the difficulties of economy, but we're still standing. And that we need to thank God and to praise his holy name. God bless you once more, community. You are more than welcome. Tell your neighbors, share the video, make them to understand the gospel is being preached here by Bishop J. Today, we are going to share the 70 weeks of Israel. I prefer to call it the 70 weeks of Israel, which other say the 70 weeks of prophecy of Israel. That's what I prefer to call it, the 70 weeks of Israel. That came after Daniel prayer. The basic and all this message, you find it in the book of Daniel, chapter 9. Chapter 9 of the book of Daniel, you will arrive to find this text. You need to read all the chapter, then choosing some verse like verse 20, 23, 24 to 27 kind of. No, read all the chapter of chapter 9, then you will arrive to understand. We are in the book of Daniel. And Daniel in chapter 9 is not the young Daniel of chapter 1 and 2 of the chapter of the book of Daniel. Here is the old Daniel who is older and the shaking body and all of it, and he have a time to pray for his people. And God answered him very powerful in a supernatural way. Daniel, after reading and understanding the book of Jeremiah, the prophet Jeremiah, who prophesies that they will go in captivity for 70 years. But after Daniel read and studied the book of Jeremiah, and he understood the book of Jeremiah, especially Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 11 and verse 12, and Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 10 to verse 14. After understanding the book, and Daniel understood it, he now understands that the captivity is up. The time of captivity is over, and let us go back home. And then, therefore, what he did not go and toy. He did not go and make noises. He did not go and tell the people, follow me, let's go back to Jerusalem because the 70 years is gone up. No, he prayed. He prayed and he fasted. And through his prayer and his fasting, that way God will come and talk to him. He will send his angel by the power of angelic revelations, and Daniel will arrive to know the 70 weeks of Israel. Also, the 70 weeks of Israel, it has twofold. I always like to put this in twofold. The first fold, I can say, is the fold of the captivity of the people, because they have sinned and they have broken the covenant, and God has punished them by bringing the judgment upon them, by bringing the Chaldeans to take them to Babylon. And when the Chaldeans will take them to Babylon, and they will last there for 70 years. 70 years. Can you imagine? If you go there, you are 50 years. It means you will die in Babylon. That's why Jeremiah was telling them, let your kid get married and let your kid get power and build a house in Babylon and do everything in Babylon, because you are going there for a long, long time. 70 years. God was also doing that purge, to purge all those generation of people who did sin, and the new generation who will be born in Babylon, they must come back to the land of milk and honeys. Another fold is the desolation of the land, because the temple has been destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar has destroyed the temple, and the temple and the land will remain in a desolation for 70 years also. There is no ritual of Mosaic covenant. There is no priest. There is nothing, and it will be in a desolation. But for you to understand it very well, you need to read the book of Nehemiah. Then you will see how, when people came back from the land, they will tell you, Nehemiah, our land is desolated, our tombs of our ancestors are now open up. Everything is not going on there. There is no street, there is no nothing. The wall is falling apart. That's why Nehemiah, pushed by God, he will go back there to build for the wall and all of it. Also, there is the angelic revelation. Is an answer, as I said before, for Daniel prayer. Because from Daniel's perspective, the return of the exile should have been synonymous with the rebuilding of Jerusalem. That Daniel's perspective was that the return of the exile should be synonymous of the rebuilding of Jerusalem and the temple and the restoration of a sacrifice system, and also bringing up theocracy government. That was for Daniel's perspective. Now for Daniel's viewpoint also, he has also this view as a human being. The return of the Jew from exile as a step also toward the Messianic kingdom, because all the Jews, they long and they strive to go to the Messianic kingdom, where the Messiah will rule without sharing with anybody, where the Messiah will be above everything. And Daniel's viewpoint also, and most of the Jews, they were looking for that. That when we are returning from Babylon, then the Messianic kingdom was going to kick on. But God has his plan, but God has his way. Now, I will arrive to give you these things. Listen to this. Listen to this carefully. The prophecy, this prophecy of Daniel chapter 9 cannot be overstated. I mean, it's not above all the prophecy, but it is the key to prophetic revelation. This Daniel 9 is the key to prophetic revelation. It is also called the ABC of a prophecy. It is also called the countdown to Christ. The countdown to Christ. That's why Joseph, I always say this. God does not do anything without warning or telling us in advance. That way he called, as the book of Revelation say, those who have ears, must hear what the Lord, the Spirit is saying about. Now, if everybody of that time did study very well about the Daniel 9, they will arrive to understand precisely when the Messiah was going to be born. When the Messiah was going to be born and when the Messiah was going to be around. But all of them, or most of them, did not study very well the prophecy of Daniel. And they did not understand the 70 weeks of Israel. Now, I always also put it in these stages before I give you the highlight of the 70 weeks. Number one is the coming of the Messiah. Number two is the destruction of Jerusalem, which will happen at AD 70. AD 70. Then there is a gap. Between the number 2 and number 3, there is a gap, because that gap is called the church. Number 3 is the appearance of the Antichrist. Here you know straight away we are in a tribulation time. And number 4 is the great tribulations. And number 5, I always put it, is the millennial kingdom, where the Lord himself will reign and where the Lord himself will sit in a power and to reign over things. Now, let me give you the 70 weeks. The 70 weeks is broken in 3 major parts. That way the 70 weeks is broken. There is the 7 weeks, and there is the 62 weeks, that number 2, and there is a 1 week, that is number 3. Now, from the number 1, the 7 week and the 62 weeks, it's already been fulfilled. If I have something, I was going to give you the graphic and the image of the line of it. I'm sorry, I don't have that instrument to show you all those things. Now, from number 1, which is the 7 weeks, to number 2, which is the 62 weeks, it's already fulfilled. That is already fulfilled and passed. Now we are in a period of the gap period. The gap period where we are, that way it is a church period. Now, it remains to be fulfilled the 1 week, which will give us the totality of the 70 weeks. Now, the first block, which is the 7 weeks, you need to multiply 7 multiply 7, it will give you 49 years. In that 49 years, when they came back from exile, they have to build the street of Jerusalem, they have to build the temple, and they have to build also their own house, which it was done. It took them 50 years to build the temple, because the Messiah cannot come without the temple, because the Israelite cannot do the sacrificial system without the temple. That's why the temple is supposed to be rebuilt again, which will be destroyed at AD 70 by the Romans. The one of Solomon was destroyed by the Chaldeans with Nebuchadnezzar. That is the first block, which is 49 years. 49 years that it took them. There was a time, that's why you need to read the prophet Isaiah, prophet Zechariah, who came there to revive them, because there was a time people forgot about the most important things, which was the temple, which that's why it took them 50 years of rebuilding it. Now, the 62 weeks, you need to do 62 weeks, multiply, you multiply it by 7, it will give you 434 years. 434 years. And this is a critical period. Why I say critical period? In this period, that way, the Messiah will be born in Bethlehem in this period, And therefore, it will end with the Messiah being cut off. I just quote what that verse of 24, 25 for Daniel 9 say. The Messiah will be cut off, will be killed for the sacrificial atonement for the sin of the world. And there, the 62 weeks will finish there. That is the cross of Calvary. At AD 32, that where the Messiah was killed at the cross of Calvary. Now, why I say the 62 weeks is a very critical, because the Messiah will be born somewhere toward the end of the 62 weeks, which he has, you multiply 62 multiplied by 7, it will give you 434 years. 434 years. If you minus that 434 years with 33 years of Jesus, that means at 430 somewhere there, Jesus was born. I give you a clue somewhere there. Jesus was born. Now, if you put together the 7 weeks plus and the 62, it will give you 69 weeks. And you multiply 69 weeks, multiply to 7, it will give you 483 years. That is the period from out of exile to the Messiah dying. It will last for 483 years. That will give you 69 weeks. There is only 1 week that is not yet fulfilled to complete it to 70 weeks. That is the tribulation. As I said to my rapture video last time, that when the church is rapture, then the tribulation kick in. The rapture give birth to the tribulation, and the rapture will give birth to the last week, which will complete the 70 weeks of Daniel. That where the Antichrist will be manifested, and that where tribulation will start, and all of these things that you know, the 2 witnesses and all of the disaster is in tribulation. I hope I have helped you enough, and I hope I am not confusing you. If you have any questions of these 70 weeks of Daniel, ask me about it. I'll give you the answer. God bless you. I do not want to take more time of you. God bless you, and keep subscribing. See you soon.